They are the future of the nation. Therefore, any policy that seeks to attack or cater for their welfare is a policy that seeks to advance the growth and development of that country.
Like individuals who say, forget the children, who say, don't mind the children are not necessary. No.
Hello viewers, you're welcome to today's edition of the Yaz Intellectuals, where we groom great debaters. Now today we are here at KNUST and we are live on the Knockout edition. I am Nanaba Amwa.
And my name is Edwin. Of course, we proudly are supported by Yaz and of course by Access Bank and Capital O2. At this point, we take a very short break here, then we introduce our moderators and our competing hosts. We'll be right back.
21st century design, made with durable materials, bristles crafted to reach in between your teeth, flexible, allows easy control. Introducing Yaz range of toothbrushes, made for every pocket. For bulk purchases, call 0302 235294. Yaz toothbrushes, clean teeth, confident smile.
Welcome back from that short break. So today on this edition, we are going to have two interesting halls competing tete-a-tete. All right. Governor, who are the halls competing today?
All right, so we have Liberty Hall from the University of Professional Studies in Accra. Round of applause for them.
This is one of the most prominent halls on UPSA campus, and our motto is Liberate Your Potentials, Soar Higher.
We have to pull our strengths and come hard.
We are preparing and then we are taking a stance that to all the judges, and then they'll have no choice than to award Liberty Hall victors.
Tried as much as we could to put in our all, not our best.
And I'm more of a coach, coaching my team to come and win this.
Yeah, we are going to win, obviously.
Liberty is the better side, so watch out for Liberty Hall.
And again, we have the Casely-Hayford Hall.
This is the lifeblood of this community, the great empire. This is where the gentlemen of this university are bred. As our godfather, Joseph from Casely-Hayford, was a journalist, was an educator, was a lawyer. So as the son of him, we've taken same from him.
Our Shabre, and then one thing that we can boast of as Casfodians is we live in solidarity.
Actually, we are going to give you nothing but the best. We are here to give you the Shabre.
In terms of debate, no wahala. We are one.
We are the current champions.
It's all about competition between Casfodians and all other halls.
We are the true gentlemen of this land. And as Casfodians, we believe in unity, and unity is strength.
So this intellectual debate, watch out for Casford. We are here. We're going to take it. That's why we are the brave army and we are the superpowers.
Now that is a large roar from Casely-Hayford. Okay, what is the motion on which today's debate is on?
Child welfare has an impact on national growth and development. And to speak for the motion is Casely-Hayford Hall, and again, the motion is Liberty Hall from UPSA.
Okay, not to forget, we are still sponsored by Yaz range of products, the caring brand for caring families. All right, a little rule for our debaters. When you hear the bell ring once, that means you have done a minute of your presentation. When you hear the bell ring twice, that means you have 2 minutes left to finish with your presentation. And when you hear the bell being rung continuously, it means that you should bring an end to your presentation. And let us kindly desist from trying to make more assertions when the bell is rung continuously.
And so at this point, we accept the motion by Casely-Hayford, who are speaking for the motion. A round of applause for this.
It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken adults. Child welfare is imperative, and its impact on national development cannot be overemphasized. So what is child welfare? It's a continuum of services that include things like adoption, elimination of child neglect and abuse, and the assurance of foster care and guardianship. And these are the things that help a family and help children to live in a positive environment. Those are the things that help the nation to develop. There are two main drives to national growth and development: the capital-based drives and the human resource-based drive. In this debate, child welfare is a human resource-based drive. Capital-based drives such as your GDP, export rates, and the rest are not the things that we are supposed to come and justify in this debate. But even if this debate is about capital-based drive, I'll prove to you that human resource development is the foundation of capital-based drive, and by child welfare contributing to human resource-based drive, we can get a total development, total growth in that regard. Now, national growth and development is a collective improvement in socio-cultural, socio-economic, and political macro indicators of a nation. It involves things such as increase in living standards, improvement in self-esteem needs, freedom from oppression, and as well as greater choice, as outlined by Michael Dorado, a pioneer in the field of development studies. We concede before making any further arguments that certain child welfare policies may not have gotten the massive positive impacts in national growth and development, given that we have only about 4,000 cases currently institutionalized in Ghana. But what is the alternative for these cases, right? It will have been death, destitution, streetism. Therefore, by impact, we establish to you that the contribution of child welfare and social welfare in general to national growth and development isn't only in contributing positively towards national growth and development, but reversing the effect of negative norms and standards that we have in this country. And that's exactly what we do in this debate. So on to my positive matter. I'm going to prove to you how and why child welfare policies contribute to national growth and development. One is on a principle level, another is on a workability level. So first and foremost, on the how. Child welfare contributes to national growth and development because it operates on the principles of responsibility and the continuity of legacy. Panel, it is imperative that if you want to access the future of any country, just simply look at the kids because they are the future of the nation. Therefore, any policy that seeks to attack or cater for their welfare is a policy that seeks to advance the growth and development of that country. And also, because our elites and our leaders know that one day they will go and then someone will have to replace them, someone will have to take care of them, they are more incentivized to inure to the benefit and to the welfare of them. So on those two principles, child welfare contributes massively to the growth and development of a country. Again, on the how, child welfare contributes positively towards an increase in socio-economic and socio-cultural macro indicators. So first of all, on the socio-economic macro indicators, the very first thing is the Human Development Index. The Human Development Index is a normalized measure of life expectancy, literacy, education, standard of living, and GDP per capita of a country, which is normally used to measure the well-being of a country, especially that of child welfare. Panel, this is imperative. Child welfare forms the fundamental of the determination of HDI. Child welfare is a critical component in assessing how developed the country is, whether it's underdeveloped or not. Therefore, that establishes child welfare as a very good thing. So, child welfare also serves to guarantee that parents are responsible for and assisted in educating their wards, including forcing sexist parents to take their girl child to school, implementing policies like FQ, implementing policies like free NHIS registration and free school feeding programs. Also, or consequently, all children, especially orphans, are shielded from psychological harm and abuse. They are also shielded from neglect. They are offered good nutrition, and they have access to quality care, etc., which results in a total development of the children and consequently their contribution to national growth and development. Norway is a classic example of this case. It has been consistently topping the HDI index that has been released by the UNDP, simply because Norway has a well-structured child welfare system that caters to and ensures that families are given the right support structures to bring up their kids in the best environment that will inure to their growth and development. Furthermore, child welfare policies cause a positive increase in socio-cultural conditions within the country. Child welfare programs focus on 1, building parental resilience, 2, social connections, knowledge of parenting care and child development, concrete support in times of need, and lastly, socio-emotional competence of these children. By doing this, the negative cultural values such as FGM, negative cultural values such as strokecy, child labor, child early and forced marriages, and capital punishment laws are repealed, and we promote good things such as kinship and communal values to ensure that our cultural values, to ensure that our community-based values are built up to a point that they can contribute to national growth and development. This advances a nation where everyone, irrespective of their creed, irrespective of their sex or their social standing, is given equal opportunity to realize their full potential and be of use to themselves and to the nation. My partner will focus on the impact of child welfare on the political macro indicators and how significantly that impacts national growth and development. So what have I been able to do in this debate? 1, I've established how the presence of child welfare works in impacting national growth and development, both by a positive effect and the reversal of the negative conditions evidenced by the absence of child welfare in places like in places that we have and its impact. The second thing that I've had is that child welfare impacts national growth and development because it operates on the principle of continuity and of legacy and the responsibility of a society towards its minor citizens. The third thing is that child welfare impacts on national growth and development by contributing towards the Human Development Index, which itself is an indicator of national growth and development, and child welfare is a very important component of the Human Development Index of a country. Lastly, I've been able to prove to you how child welfare impacts on national growth and development by impacting the socio-cultural environment of a nation, leading to improved cultural growth and development of a country. Mr. Speaker, anyone can argue that there are faults with child welfare in this country or in anywhere at all. That is not what this debate is about. What this debate is about and what is indisputable is that child welfare has had significant effects and contributory impacts on national growth and development. What the opponents of this motion need to justify is that 1, child welfare cannot, and 2, child welfare has not had any significant impact on national growth and development. The harm in going towards their rhetoric is that 1, you are going to deny all the contribution that child welfare has had on social, on national growth and development. It's also going to be a slap in the face of thousands of social workers who work tirelessly to ensure growth and development. And you are going to deny the struggles of several kids around the world who have actually had to live within societies that may not have provided them the necessary child welfare policies. That's certainly not something we can uphold in this debate, and because of that, child welfare has had massive impacts on national growth and development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Principal Speaker, for the motion. And now we welcome the Principal Speaker again for the motion. A round of applause for him.
Panel, ladies and very excited gentlemen. Today, I was coming here thinking about this motion that child welfare has an impact on national growth and development. Coming against the motion, being the principal speaker against the motion, and I had this innate feeling that the proposition would come and make us look like individuals who say, forget the children, who say, don't mind the children are not necessary. No, that's not what we are here to do today. We are here to show you how child welfare does not have an impact on national growth and development. Now, I'm very happy with how my proposal started, such that I do not have to define some terms that he has already mentioned. Child, welfare, impact. However, I'll look at impact, because the word impact itself is not a slight influence, it's not a little influence, it's a marked influence, a strong influence, something that has moved something not from A to B, but A to D. National growth is mainly economic. The increase of a country's gross national product from one year to another, if it has increased, there's national growth. National development, however, as said by U Sant, the former UN Secretary General in 1962, is more multifaceted. It looks at various aspects of society, everything put together. Now, why do we say that child welfare does not impact national growth and development? Our first argument, ladies and gentlemen, is that child welfare is a byproduct of national growth and development and not necessarily a contributing factor. Take this very well. Let me give you an example. If somebody has a flashy car, as I'm sure most of the gentlemen here want to have, if somebody has a flashy car, the flashy car does not mean the person has a high income. Ladies, and once again, very excited gentlemen, you can attest with me that somebody has a Prado 4x4 but sleeps in a one-bedroom apartment on a mat. So the fact that he has a flashy car does not mean he's grown or he's developed. Now, as my proposer has rightly said, child welfare is an index. I like what he said so much. I was so happy. He spoke about the Human Development Index. That is an index, a telltale sign. That does not mean that it contributes. Now, granted, there are some indexes that contribute to growth and development, like your employment rate. The more people you employ, obviously your growth, you have a greater economic growth. But child welfare is not one of them. Ladies and gentlemen, generally, the greater a country's income, the more it will spend on child development. According to the State Treasury Department, in 2010, the United States, we always like to reference the United States, but the United States spent $29.4 billion on child welfare alone. All the 50 states of the United States spent $29.4 billion on welfare alone. Now, to put this in perspective, according to the World Factbook, Ghana's estimated GDP as at last year was $130.2 billion, the estimate of last year. If you understand this right, or if your math is quick, this tells you that the US spent 20% of Ghana's GDP on child welfare alone. Because the United States is more developed. Now, the form of child welfare in itself changes based on the country. A more developed country will have more flexible forms of child welfare. According to a research article posted online, that 10 things that makes a Swedish family friendly, it was stated that in 2015, research was shown that in Sweden, parents can get as much as, and I converted it for you so it wouldn't cause any trouble, as much as 570 cedis a month for every child they have until the child reaches 16. This shows you that child welfare in itself is a marked effect of national growth and development, and not necessarily a contributing factor. This may look trivial to you, but ladies and gentlemen, it is a very dangerous thing for us to do this, because we will be saying to ourselves, as a state, of course, government wants to grow the nation. Government wants national growth and development. Now, if we tell governments that child welfare is a form of reaching our set targets of national growth and development, government will spend more on child welfare. Now, our proposers mentioned quite earlier that the inputs into growth and development are human-based and capital-based. He mentioned human-based. Ladies and gentlemen, child welfare is not a form of human-based investment. When you invest in your children, you cannot employ the children to bring you money then. The children are not going to work. That is child labor. Now, if we were to create jobs for people upstairs or adults, that would be human-intensive. Granted, human-intensive covers all things we do to develop individuals. But we are talking about a marked effect, a strong effect on national growth and development. Yes, the children are the future leaders. I'm a young person. Some might even call me a child. I am a future leader. Yes, that is true. However, we are looking at the fact of the matter, whether it contributes or it does not contribute. Now, he has mentioned Norway is all the things that are done in Norway. Now, I want to go back to that example. Norway is not where Norway is because Norway puts in so many child development measures. If Norway has been topping the Human Development Index constantly, Norway should be the most developed country in the world. According to this motion, mind you, Norway should be the most developed country in the world. Norway should have the highest GDP per capita of all nations in the world. However, this is not so. All these things go to show you that child welfare in itself is not, once again, very important. That's the whole thrust of this debate. It's not a contributing factor, but rather a byproduct of national growth and development. If the state focuses on the actual factors that contribute to national growth and development, we will have more money to spend on all these children that are being spoken about, all these 4,000 children in institutions, all these children on the streets, all these children that are from broken homes, all these children that are stealing. If we focused on the measures that bring about national growth and development, we would have more money to help them and better their lives. As I have already said, ladies and gentlemen, this is not an emotional debate. This is not a debate for once. The facts are the facts. Let us pay attention to the facts and speak the truth as the truth is. Let us not make anybody look alienated to look evil or something. But let us speak the facts that, ladies and gentlemen, child warfare does not have an impact on national growth and development. Thank you.
I've got yes comfort. I've got yes confidence. I've got yes freshness. We've got yes protection.
Ultra thin, wide wings and leak guards. Yes sanitary pads give you maximum comfort, hygiene and protection in a resealable pack.
We've got yes protection.
Yes sanitary pads. Maximum protection, maximum confidence.
Don't worry, we've got yes protection.
The chair of the House. A very, very problematic argument brought forth by the principal speaker from Liberty Hall. All his arguments were based on the fact that child welfare is an effect of national development, but not a cause. We say for shame. This is the argument. A nation that is developed is a nation that has total development of all its citizens. Embedded in total development is the development of children. The children, we say, are the future of the nation. And if the nation should be developed and well developed tomorrow, the future are the children. So if the children are well catered for, then they will have a brighter future. Their whole case is thrown out of this house. Two, we say that when the totality of citizens are improved, we say that the nation has total development and sustained development over a period of time. With this, we throw all arguments brought forth by Liberty Hall out of this debate. Now, to more substantive issues. We say that child welfare has impact on national growth and development in various sectors. Caleb did a very good job by telling us how socioeconomic and sociocultural macro indicators contribute to national development. My duty here is to reiterate and go ahead to show you how political macro indicators affect national development and national growth. We say that our argument is not only going to promulgate the positives of child welfare, but also going to tell us how child welfare saves the nation from a more negative situation or a more worsening situation. We say that if child welfare was not there, right, the world would have been a worse place to live in. Something that we do not want to see as a house. Panel, political macro indicators I'll be focusing on in my debate are two. One, democracy and consensus building, and two, human rights development. Democracy and consensus building. We say democracy and consensus building are political micro indicators of national development and growth. Hence, when child welfare promotes democracy and consensus building, it impacts national growth and development directly. Panel, we say that policies driven at eliminating one, child abuse, two, neglect, like policies like the Children's Act of 1998 and the Maintenance of Children Decree of 1977, goes a long way to address the problem of neglect of parental duties and child abuse. Panel, our argument is quite simple. If these policies are aimed at giving a child the necessary support, a support that is embedded in a democratic era, a support that makes children feel a sense of belonging in society, then we say that these children would owe society, right, the continuity of this system that is a democratic era. Panel, our argument is that the child welfare policies instills in a child values such as 1, tolerance, 2, communism, exchange of ideas, and all-inclusiveness. A child that has these values is better positioned at ensuring that bipartite and tripartite deliberations are used in addressing concerns facing society. We also say that in a country where the values of its citizens are the above mentioned, it's a country that is peaceful. Two, a country that its citizens understand the importance of communism and all-inclusiveness. I'll move on to my second argument, that is human rights development. Panel, we say that every child is entitled to his or her fundamental rights, and it is the duty of every parent to protect and respect these rights. We say that historically, children's rights and inclusions were not respected and protected. Evidence in laws described in the Egyptian Book of the Dead 1, Mosaic Code, Roman Child Law Code, and the early English laws of the 13th century. These historic writings established that children were property without any right except rights given to them by their parents. So then, children do not owe any rights in and of themselves, but rights that were told them by their parents. We say for shame. Now, current welfare policies, right? Current child welfare policies have come to solve this issue of neglect of the rights of these children. We say that in recent times, through the UN Convention on Human Rights and Child and other favorable child welfare policies, as well as the establishment of national child welfare systems, the rights of the child have been fully entrenched and the development of the child has been realized. Child welfare policies have established and entrenched the supremacy of the rights of the child. Child welfare policies have ensured that the human right development of the nation and by effect the development and the growth of the nation. What have I done in this debate? Panel, I've made clear the issues of political micro-indicators and how these indicators directly affect national development and growth. Panel, I've also showed you how democracy and consensus building, as well as human rights development, affect national growth and development, and cohesively promote a better world in which we all would want to live in. With this, we are proudly proposing.
Thank you very much. First supporting speaker for the motion. Now, the first supporting speaker against the motion. Round of applause for you.
Honorable Chair, all protocol observed. The premise or the motion child welfare has impact on national growth and development is a complete reversal of fact. As a matter of fact, our opponents are attacking the premise based on emotion, and I seek to clarify that we are not against child welfare. We are only against the fact that it contributes, or it's the sole contributor to national growth and development. We're just trying to say that in a developed country, you can only institute child welfare when the country is developed to a certain pedestal or level. If you have not gotten to that pedestal, you cannot create child welfare. And that is why Ghana as a country is failing, because we are a developing country. Now, if you say, for example, the GPA of a student does not show, the GPA of a student cannot affect better teaching. It is better teaching that affects the GPA of a student. And so if you center or zero in on child welfare, you are changing everything. Now, if you have a child and you don't spend time with your children, you are gone to work almost every time. He was talking about children being the future of the nation. Yes, children are the future of the nation. But if you zero in child welfare to education, school feeding program to free SHS, now there is a child somewhere who is from a rich home. He doesn't need free SHS. He does not need school feeding program. What he needs is love. Now, if love is not given to him, he might also end up doing things. That's why you hear kids taking guns and shooting people. It's because of the lack of the element of love. So we are not attacking the premise. We are only saying that the premise is completely reversed. And now we are centering on development and good. Child welfare is a key index. It is part of the contributing factors. It is not the sole contributing factor. Now, if you zero in on child welfare alone, these are some of the results you get. Apathy from parents. When parents realize that the government is actually performing their responsibility by paying them for their kids, this is what they do. They see their kids as a source of money. They will use that bait. So instead of kids going to school now, kids will rather be on the streets begging for money, which you can clearly see at the mall. I'd like to reserve the rest of my time for the second speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. So before our second supporting speaker for the motion comes in, we would like to acknowledge our sponsor. The show is proudly brought to you by Yas range of products. Yas producers of Yas sanitary towels and Yas panty liners. So if you're in your monthly period and you need a pad that is comfortable for you, no leakages, very comfortable, you can dare to wear white during the day and go anywhere at any time. Yas sanitary towel and Yas panty liners is what you need. Okay, can we have our second supporting speaker for the motion?
Madam Chairman, the House. Children are not things to be molded, but are things to be unfolded. My duty is to tell you why the opposing side to this debate are out of it, and why the proposing side are the ones who have won this debate or have had their points standing throughout the debate. There is a fundamental and incontrovertible principle underlining this motion. And what is that principle? It is the principle that no nation can develop without inclusiveness. Now they come here and tell us that a nation can develop without inclusiveness. That is neglecting, whether consciously or subconsciously, the role that children can play in the development of a nation. And we say that child welfare is a cause of national development and not an effect. We'll tell you the point that they've raised and why those points did not stand in this debate. They talked about impact being a market improvement, and we told you that that is even an admission. So they are saying that there's an impact, or it contributes, but it's not market. The improvement is not a market improvement. And so inherent in their case is an admission that child welfare contributes to national development, but it has not made an impact. We'll tell you why it is an impact and not just a contribution. They go ahead to tell us that child welfare is a product of national growth and development. And we tell you that it is not a byproduct, but it is a cause, because no nation can develop without inclusiveness. They tell us that a country should have greater income before attending to its children. And we tell you that if we are to wait for such a time, it will never happen. They talk about certain children needing love, and we tell you that child welfare, inherent in such policies, are building the capacity of parents to understand how to tender for their children or to tend for their children. And so love itself is inherent in child welfare policy. That is building capacity of parents to be able to meet the child welfare needs of their children. Let's bring to you what we brought into this debate. We established what child welfare policies include. We talked about adoption policies or a framework guiding adoption. We talked about elimination of child abuse and neglect, foster care and neglect, as well as social intervention policies, which are targeted at child development. We also talked about national growth and development, which is an increase in living standard, improvement in self-esteem needs, freedom from oppression, and greater choice. We tell you that child welfare policy leads to an increase in self-esteem needs of a country, which is also a mark of assessing development. And so without self-esteem needs, a country cannot develop its population. We tell you that child welfare liberates the child from oppression, and freedom from oppression is also a mark of development. We tell you that child welfare leads to greater choice, and having a society with greater choice is a developed society than one without its people having greater choice. We go ahead and tell you why child welfare has an impact on national growth and development. We spoke about child welfare being the fundamental and key principle for assessing human development index, which is by itself a very key way of assessing development. We spoke about the Norwegian example, and we tell you that Norway did not wait till the time that they were self-sufficient to take care of their children, but Norway took care of their children before it got to that point. We tell you how it has helped to reverse negative social cultural conditions.
Thank you very much. Now for the second supporting speaker, again the motion.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again we are back at this same point. Now I need to clarify something first of all, that we are not saying that, and as I said earlier, this would be what would happen if what we're saying was not understood. We are not saying that a country should wait for when it has more money before it will look at its children. We never said that. We are saying that the provision for the children does not give the country more money. That is basically the whole thing that is being said. Now, neither are we saying that there is no way that child welfare will be looked at. Now, we have realized that instead of focusing solely on child welfare, focusing solely on children, that will not really bring back revenue to the state. Let us do what the Constitution asks us to do in Article 28, 1E. Now, the Constitution asks that the government should enact policies that seek to strengthen the family unit. Emphasis on the family unit. Now, by doing so, government should look at providing jobs for its adult citizens, because children have parents. Children do not live, or most children anyways, do not live alone. Or some child came from somewhere before he got to where he is. So let us provide jobs for the parents. Now we also understand the fact that it is not the mere provision of money that brings happiness into a house, or that brings the love that was mentioned into the house, but strengthening the family unit. But looking at family planning measures, things that would ensure that the citizens are more happy to take care of their children. Because once parents realize that it is because of their children that they are getting money, or the state is paying them to get money, they will be apathetic towards the needs of their children. They will see their children as a means to an end, because the state is paying me for everything for the fact that I have a child. Which is why there are individuals begging, children begging on the streets. And you ask yourself, where are their parents? Most of their parents are actually around them. Why won't their parents take them to school? Because the child brings money. Why won't the parents take the child home? Because the child brings money. Why won't the parents go and work and get his own money? Because the child brings money. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the point of this whole motion, we are not saying what should be, what could be. We are saying what is. And what is that child welfare is a byproduct. It is an effect. Even the very word human development index in itself means indicator, not a cause, an indicator. So it is an effect of national growth and development and not a marked cause. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so is child welfare a contributing factor to national development? Certainly our judges will help us make a decision on that after this
break. I love Fruit Frosted Flakes because it's so crunchy and full of nutrients. All you need is milk. As usual, Mom.
9 minus 3, 2. That's it? Yes?
90.
Which cereal flakes has 9 essential nutrients with no artificial additives or colors? Yes?
Fruit Frosted Flakes is rich in vitamin E, B12, iron, high in carbohydrate, fiber, protein, sodium, and it's very affordable.
Clap for him.
Fruit Frosted Flakes! Fruit Frosted Flakes! All you need is milk.
Pooch comes with 3 variants: Frosty Flakes, Choco Flakes, and Corn Flakes. Each bag has 10 mini packs of 50 grams, and each box you buy comes with a free exercise book. Pooch is available in all supermarkets and retail shops. Pooch Frosty Flakes. All you need is milk.
Thank you very much. Once again, we have had quite an interesting debate, though not as intellectually stimulating as we expected this session to have been. Both sides did very well. The 2 sides scored independently 34.5 and 41.5. With 41.5, the winners for this afternoon's session are the Casely-Hayford